Okay, February 6th, same day, 2024. Gotta stay focused. There's a war in my house. I'm warring with my son. He noticed I was downstairs. He came up to my window and asked me what was up and how I was doing. And I said, well, I'm basically boiling mad. That's all it took. Before you know it, he was accusing me of not caring about him because I wasn't compliant to be so happy-go-lucky to clear out the basement so that he can have more space because he's my son. And somehow it becomes my obligation to make him happy when I remind him he's a man. And most men move out of their mother's houses and he can leave any time. If anything, I could rent it out to somebody else that actually might fucking want to help me. And that person who would rent downstairs would have a private laundry, being that I never used the laundry room. Go figure, and I'm the one that needs it the fucking most. Okay. Anyway, this broth is delicious. Now, I only put in a half a teaspoon, not even a 3/4, maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, because pork comes in with its own salt. It really does. I've been noticing that over the years. So with the flavoring of the rib bones from what my neighbor did and the little bit of salt that I put in with that big piece of meat, it's delicious, I'm telling you. And because it sat overnight, you've got a bit of a bone broth going on in there because the bones are they're not quite disintegrated. It'd take another 24 hours to fully disintegrate them. But they're pretty freaking close. Those will just go outside for the raccoons. Spring is coming. So you know that Matilda likes to come back every year and have her freaking babies somewhere on the property. Right? Either or. It won't be the raccoons. It will be the skunks or the freaking cats or the possums. And if a coyote runs by, they might snag up on it too, so, or the birds. There's lots of animals out there that would love to have that and say thank you. I'm just saying. Alright, so I don't have time to really degrease this, because I just want to get this done and over with today, because obviously I'm on a schedule, working under pressure. This is just a detour. That's what I told Andre. This is just a detour. Sometimes stuff like this happens. Hey, you got to be prepared for it, right? It's greasy. Now, but the grease is only on the top, right? So what I'm going to do, so that's the meat, plus we've got what's in the fridge, already pre-cooked, so twice as much, right? We know what we're going to do with the bones. Now, if you look at this stock, okay, that's a lot of stock. In other words, that's going to be too much for 7 jars of meat, a few potatoes, a couple of, what do you call those things, parsnips, and a couple of cauliflower with a little bit of greens in there, because that's basically what I'm going to do. Depending on how far the meat stretches, I might do that. I might get anywhere between, don't underestimate meat, you'd be surprised. It goes very fast when you're filling up jars. We'll just say anywhere between 5, with the vegetables, right? Between 5 to 10 jars. So that would be 1 canner or 2 canners at 90 minutes. But because I have a lot of broth here, and it's good, I don't want to waste it, people. I just don't. Because when Andre and I get into our noodle making, that's what we're going to need. Right? And then just a little bit of that seasoning that I bought in those containers. Or you could throw in a little bit of mitsu with a little bit of sesame seed. Okay? So the first thing we have to do is exercise. pay attention, and we have to strain it. Okay? I gotta be careful that I don't go over the edge. Now this pot, I'm going to let it cool for a little while longer. And I'm going to put it in the fridge, and I'm going to degrease it. And this will be my reserve. Andre, I'm talking. This will be my reserve to top off my jars, because this may or may not be enough. I'd say it's probably enough to do 7 jars with all the food inside. But if I need a little extra, I've got this, which after the fact of canning the food at 90 minutes, because there's meat inside of it, so you take the highest minute count based on what's inside the jar, and that would be the meat. So we're looking at 90 minutes, hopefully at least 7 jars in terms of meat, which I think I can do with the vegetables, no prob, right? And then this will be just simply canned up as broth after it's degreased, and it's only 25 minutes for broth, right? That's easy peasy, and I don't have to do the broth today. I can finish it tomorrow, and I'll have another 5 or 6 more jars of Primo broth. But just don't let my son know, because he'll be, you told me you weren't gonna can no more. You don't care about me. You're still bringing down shit. I'm just fucking going nuts, man. Like, seriously. So guilt-tripping me that you talk to me like he's a little boy. You don't care about me, Mommy, you know. And then he sides with Tisha and to get on that. When you have 5 kids, right? And they, you know, squabbling, right? And you have to interject or whatever, right? So my kids never got into big brawl batches, and you know, they've had a few scuffles along the years, but nothing major, right? And or somebody had a point to prove, right? You got 5 kids, and somebody, doesn't matter who it is, has a point to prove, right? So of course they're going to go looking to their siblings and hope that, well, if they could get all 4 to jump on bandwagon with them and pick on Mom, that'd be great, because then that would be 5 against 1, right? So, you know, they'd migrate to, like, whatever, right? Now I'm down to basically 2 kids, people. And being bullied one way or another. Before Tisha went, so much for cooking. Before Tisha went on her holiday, I was babysitting 2 times a week. And then I gave her like $1,700. No. Yeah, $1,700. No, it was 16. No. It was 1,200 and 400. So 16. And then I got their cat fixed, and I paid for their shots, not knowing if they were going to take the cat back. And I was willing to keep the cat, but you know, the cat got fixed, and I said, you look after her while she's healing. And I was so keeping my fingers crossed that, you know, they'd keep it, because, right, my cats at home do better without another cat in the house. And that cat loves that family, loves Tisha and her and the kids and everything. So it was just better for the cat to be where she loved being, right? And get more attention, right? And so I said, well, I paid for the shots, that's $100, so you owe me $1,700, right? Like, you know, and I'm not really up just for you to take the kids for 2 days and you know, basically tell me that that's $300 off of what she owes me. Like, fuck that. No, I need the help in the house, sorting out this, doing that, sorting out that, getting in downstairs, helping me with that, so I don't have to just do it all with Markane. You know, you can take some stuff home to start learning how to sew. You can sew in the sewing room upstairs. It's not like, right before it ends up who knows where, people. Okay. And then she got back, and she was talking about, you know, yeah, but, you know, like, because the economy there is a niche economy where you either have a good job or you don't. If you don't have a good job, you won't excel. It's like anywhere you go, right? And, you know, you got to get in with, you know, who knows who kind of thing. And if you can get into that kind of a situation, then you can afford to live on this little island because it's expensive. All right. So then she says, well, we just might have it as a, what is it called? Like a second home. Maybe not live there all the time, but because she wants to travel to China. Places like that. And I said, travel to China. Why would you want to travel? Because I want to see the world and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But the fact that she said that they weren't going to live there 12 months out of the year, you know, I'm grasping at straws as to where I'm going to move me and the kids. Because I can't stay in this house forever. I don't want to. That's when I came up with the idea. And I've been asking her to share a house with me, but she won't move because she doesn't want to pay higher rent because she's already using her credit cards. And she wants to now leave because they have an escape, right? To which my son agrees that, why shouldn't she, you know? Yeah, well, you do realize she's pawning me off on you and she's expecting you to look after me. But she can go be free, and you're going to side with that because you think I don't fucking care about you all of a sudden because I'm livid that you're making me tear apart something that's been there for 14 fucking years as you're guilt-tripping me? Expecting me to house you and your wife? Yeah, okay. When I know I could probably have a good chance finding a really good tenant that would really fucking be appreciative for what they have and actually help me without stressing me out all the time? Like, I'd rather take my chances. But he seems to think that, oh, you know, I paid my rent on time and I never stole from you, Mom. No, you just throw my shit out, Markane. So don't compare yourself to people who fucking steal. I've had it more worse with you than I have had it with people moving in and out, moving out over the years, taking this and taking that, including your sister, Sierra. Like, fuck off. Like, shut up already. Like, okay. So, of course, you know, she listened to me, whatever, but on that day when she was standing here and I was standing there, and I reminded her that, you know, like, you know, you need to take what I'm saying serious and really think about, you know, it would be good to have the one room with the two pianos. I can teach Alea May how to play piano. She can be at her piano. I could be at my piano. Amari could be in a safe space on a big mattress on the floor with a bunch of fucking bean bags. We could have the, you know, the electric drums in there if Kyrie wants to bang on them. A few bookshelves for some books and, you know, all this other miscellaneous children's shit that I've got around here. And, you know, basically you get the kitchen, and being that I know what you need, it's going to be a nice fucking kitchen, but don't expect me to be in there cooking because I won't be able to see, but at least you'll have all the appliances and, you know, and like you've got the support helping with Amari as the kids get older and I get weaker, and it's not like you're going to be doing it by yourself. Oh yeah, but I told you, you know, I'm moving. Okay, well that hurts me to hear that because I'm in the most vulnerable spot in all my life, and I've got 2 adult children that are basically feeding off of me. It's not, you know what I mean, right? Like piranhas, right? Or parasites, as my doctor would say. Expecting me to do everything for them so that they are happy. As long as my son gets what he wants, he is happy. Then it means I care about him. It doesn't matter the cost to me, right? Because I told him it hurts my feelings. Your feelings? What about my feelings? You don't care about me. I've been living like this for years. Yeah, your sister, and she running away from it. I said, she hasn't been living here for years. Tisha's been running away ever since she's been a fucking kid. Why do you think she can't read or write? Because she ran away from it, people. Why do you think she doesn't sew? Because she doesn't want to take the time to fucking sit down and figure it out with a little bit of guidance on my part. Right? In terms of self-educate with the tools that are around you and take advice when it's given to you. Learn by practice or whatever. Instead, she just wants, you didn't teach me how to sew when I wanted to sew, so therefore I don't want to sew no more. Like, fuck, okay. Shut up. That's the way, fucking tried to help you with your... But she's not a bad person. She's responsible. She's a good mom. She didn't become a hood rat. She didn't become drug addicted. So, we can only do what we can do, right? So, mission accomplished. At least I didn't have to go chasing her down the streets like I did with Sierra when Sierra got addicted to drugs. Okay? The point is okay, she must have, either she's watching my videos, because she says she never does, and normally she doesn't. But she might be now. And if it's not her, it's somebody that she knows, that I know. That's, because it's like, well, how's so-and-so? Gossip, gossip, gossip. People do that, right? I seen your mom's video. What's going on? And of course, Tisha's the victim. Well, my mom doesn't understand why I want to move to the island in 2 years from now and walk away from Amari and walk away from her so that I can have a house and my kids can have security, even though I'm living on a fucking island with a stupid volcano with all the rich people moving in. Yeah, okay. You're going to have security. Oh, that's good. I hope so for your sake and for the kids' sake. God forbid if they get swept up with a tsunami or a hurricane or they get buried under lava. And you say you're going to plant a garden, but, like, really? Really? It would take a lot of effort for her to do that. But I suppose for survival purposes, she'd do it. But other than that, people, like... So anyway, that's, I just phoned her up. And I told her I'm tired. Like, I'm not feeling well. I don't want to watch the kids for a while. Because I get behind, right? Because, I clean the living room. And as fast as I clean it, they were back. And it just takes one day. And, and then it sits there. And then they come back. And then it gets worse. And because, I'm... Right? But none of this is important. Because I don't have a disposable income of $80,000 where I can go to the grocery store and spend $1,200 a month to feed 4 people. With 2 little ones at that. Okay? If the rubber met the road. And then I told my son when he was getting mad at me at the window that, because he's like something, he said something, I don't know. And I said, yeah, well, it's, whatever you're thinking, Marcane, the minute you come home dead because you fell out of a fucking tree, I said, your wife is just going to walk out the door and that's it. C'est la vie. Oh, because he's like complaining about the food in the jars and buckets, and right? And I'm like, yeah, well, let me remind you, you could go to work and not come back. And then what? Your wife walks out the door and I'm left fucking holding the bag to this house with no money? Well, I'd have money, but not enough to cover everything by myself. I could probably for a few months because I have still money on my personal loan. I could borrow $1,000 a month for a few months to cover the costs, hoping I could find a good tenant to move downstairs. Right? Be happy. Because she ain't going to stick around and help me. No. So, but I'm supposed to sit in the house with no fucking food. On a gamble. Because he said, you're just gambling. I'm like, gambling? Yeah, okay, Marky. What was going on when they medically kidnapped Uncle John? You paid your $550 a month in rent. That was it. Anyway. Stupid. So anyway, Tisha told me, because I phoned her with the Olive Branch, right? And she's the victim here, people, because she told me she was going to come on Monday, which was yesterday, to help me here when she dropped off Alea from school and then come here. But when she went to say goodbye, she had this really weird tone to her voice, and it was awful. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. And then Monday came, and she never showed up. She never phoned. Today's Tuesday. She's not phoning. She's not showing up. I know she's talking to somebody about this. And that's fine. Because at the end of the day, she's going to be sitting up on some island with her 2 kids and her husband, looking to strangers to replace her family that she walked away from. And when they can't conform to whatever her wants are, it's just a matter of time before she treats them like she's been treating me. Or treats me. And before they'll take any responsibility for their selfishness and behavior and lack of respect and all this other crap, they'll blame me for it. To justify their behavior. Yeah. And this is why I tell Andre, if she's leaving in 2 years, you might as well get used to it, Andre. If you think it's going to be hard now with her not phoning or coming around, what do you think it's going to be like when it's 2 years from now and the shit is real? Right? And this is why you can't depend on people, including your own kids. Okay. So, I am going to can this today. At least, I won't do the broth today. But I'll put that in the fridge and I'll probably can the broth tomorrow. But definitely do the meat today. And then can the broth, which is really, really, really good. And of course I solved one problem, and then now I created myself another problem, because it's not like I can take it downstairs, even though it's best for it to be downstairs, because my room is already at the point where I don't want to put anything more in there until I maybe move out more other things, right? And that ain't happening right now because I'm doing everything by myself, basically. That's what Tisha was supposed to do, help me to, clear out some stuff up here, and just whatever. But no, she wants to be in control. She wants to be able to use me to her advantage when she wants something, and then give me a few things back to say that she gave me something. But when the rubber meets the road, she's not there for you because she feels she's entitled to have her own life. Even if it means, I hate you. You didn't teach me how to read or sew. It's all your fault. So if I don't get that, I get from my son, you don't care about me. No. He kept saying, you don't care about me. I'm like, you sound like a kid, man. Like that's something a fucking kid would say. I said, you're a man, man. Like, fucking men leave their mother's houses. Oh. And I said, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but, well, you don't care about me. Yeah, okay. You're right, I don't. Not anymore. Not the way you want me to. So I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to unfold out. I just don't know. Now, I have to take Amari to the feeding team so I can get these drinks rewritten out as, you know, whatever. And then in March, I have to take Amari to the children's hospital, to the hip doctor, which is the most frightening thing on the fucking planet here. And I'm trying to figure out how I can squeeze in an eye doctor, because I have to bring the kids with me, right? Not that I mind, because I don't, because then we can go to the mall. And that's fun. It's just that it's hard for me to get out and do things for myself. So I'm kind of like, I'm on the fence with the eye doctor. Not that I could get in to see him right away, but I'm thinking he should probably change my drops, because I think these drops are like messing my eyes up faster and faster and faster, because they're drying them out too fast. I like the one with the one medicine, the only one. This is an eye drop with two medicines combined. I like the one better that just has the one. But then you know, a lot of what I'm going through could be stress related too, so who knows, right? Could be both. And then of course I'm going to challenge him on this cataract lens being changed. He will say it won't make a difference, but if you want, I'll get you a second, you can go for a second opinion. And then I'll say, yeah, you do that, because I ain't doing no fucking Roto-Rooter on this shit, especially if I gotta work in the yard this year. Like, that shit put me back, like, you don't even know. And it still hurts sometimes. No. The only thing I want is the cataract lens changed. We'll start with that first. And maybe my eye drop changed to what I used to have. And I'll just have to take my chances, people, because it doesn't matter what he does, sooner or later I'm going to lose it all. Right? And wouldn't my kids just love that? Like, it shouldn't even be like that. You know? Like, it shouldn't even be like that. And then I'm watching, you know, I'm on the computer. I'm going to end it on this and get on with this. I'm watching, you know, I'm on YouTube, right? And you know, you get your, whatever those things are called, little videos to choose from. And there's this little 4 prophecies that are coming true by 2030. And I thought, oh, I'll just click it on, right? And I'm listening. And yeah, it talks about young people just not respecting their parents, and they're so stuck on themselves, and it's all about them and give me and me, and you know, they're forfeiting on their family, people, mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and children, and just, you know, they're walking away, and because they're so convinced that it's me. I have to look after me. If I don't love me and give me everything that I want, then I'm no good for everybody else around me. Oh, I don't know. That's a weird way to think. When do you ever see me look like me? Little makeup, and my hair's all dolled up, and I got my little bustier on, and you know, my little glittery earrings, and you know, I'm right, you know, white as white could be, bleached teeth, and just the whole 9 yards, right? No, I've been a workhorse all these years, people. And everything I worked for is being torn apart and thrown out for the most part, except for something that maybe they want because they want it. Not because I want it, but because they want it. If I went into my closet and pulled out my rhinestone jewelry that I have way up high and brought it out here, this is like when I was younger, right? I had, right? And brought it out here and let Tisha look at it, she'd want the whole box. And I got more than one box. offer her this, though, she'd say, I don't want it. Right? That was the same thing with my son. And because she doesn't want it, she thinks I should get rid of it so that my son can have more space. That's where they band together on you. Yeah. Well, if you'd only give Mark Kane what he'd want, things would be better for you, Mom. Yeah, okay. That's what you think. You've never been in an abusive relationship before. I've been in more than one. Well, yeah. Then he tried to accuse me of being my mother abusing him because I won't jump the hoops with pep under my step to make it fast and easy for him. Okay, so I can't dwell on it, right? Yeah, I don't know. This eye situation, like I want to phone and book an appointment. But it's just another argument. And for what? To go blind anyway. And I need to phone that doctor's office to see if that Russian doctor is going to take me as a patient, because if he's not going to take me as a patient, then give me back my fucking paperwork. You can put it in the mail and you can send it back to me, because there's no reason for you to have my health care card number, Amari's health care card number, Andre's health, none of anything that I wrote on those pieces of paper. There is absolutely no reason for them to have that information if they're not going to take me as a patient within their office. Right? Is that not true? Why should they have that information on their file if they're not going to give me the doctor? Right? So I got to do that. So what's today? Tuesday? So maybe I should get up on it next week. Just focus on dealing with a little bit of what I'm doing here and worm my way downstairs. I don't know. I can't. That bed has to go. That bed's got to come out, and it needs to be taken apart, because the mattress I sleep on, I've had since Wally's house, and I bought that mattress in like 1999, 1998, maybe 1997. Hell, that could be the mattress I bought when I moved into that house, and it was 1994, going into 95. Four. And it's a good mattress. I had bed bugs at Sarah's house, but I got rid of them by taking a toothbrush with bleach on the seams of the mattress, and then wiping down the mattress. And then if you're not on it, you gotta be on it every couple of months checking, because right. So I had to do it again because it was a hot summer and it flared up. And I did it again, got rid of them. Because John came back with them from Victoria, from Joan's house. And he was the first one to get it, and then they started traveling around, and then I figured it out, and boy, it was on. And I used bleach, toothbrush, and a rag, and that's how I got rid of them completely out of my house. And I tried to sand down a wood bed frame, but they burrow into wood. Even though I sanded it down, shellacked it, and stained it and everything, no, they came back in the wood. They were in the wood and they chewed themselves out. But I ended up getting rid of that bed frame and a dresser that was infected, right? And I went through books and all that. Okay, so I finally got rid of them. And I still have this mattress. And it's actually quite comfortable. But the mattress that's downstairs, I paid $800 for that mattress. It had a box spring too, right? And that was Tisha's bed, and when Tisha moved out, she didn't want it. And I said, okay, we'll just put it there for now, and we'll take it apart, and we'll salvage the fabric, and, and the more I'm thinking, well, that's some nice padding that I can put on top of my mattress, being that my mattress is ancient, and it would be nice to have that little extra padding. because it's on a bunk bed with rails. And but once that's done, I don't know, people, start with the buckets and try not, you know, I don't want to goad my son by reminding him that I'm boiling mad. And I'm feeling, I guess you could say, shortchanged in life. And if anyone's got anything to say about you don't care about me, well, I think that's more like in my fucking ball cord. Because I really don't get a lot of help with Amari. And I don't get help with no housework, no laundry, very little in the yard, although my son is starting to show an interest in the yard. Only because he wants to use parts of the yard. It's not because he wants to do it for me and help me, because he loves me. He's just moving it from one spot to the other spot so he can have more spot for whatever he wants. As he expects me to clean up the pile of mess that he made. Saying, well, you didn't want me to throw it out. You figure it out. Stupid shit. What's going to happen when I really go blind? Who am I going to be at the mercy of? Is there even such a thing as mercy in 2024? Because it seems like it hasn't been around for a long time. Not that I need mercy, people, but, you know, okay, I gotta stop prolonging this. I want it to be good. I don't want it to, you know, right? Okay, so let's talk about these jars for a minute. Now, these jars are the ones that come from Celsa with the pop, you know, right? Store-bought. Apparently, you can pressure can them. If I wasn't doing meat, I would attempt to try it, just because. So we'll save that for another day. And I do have quart-sized jars at this point, so I'm pretty good to go. So I'll be back. Okay, so this is the way I'm going to do it. I changed my mind. I'm going to fill up these jars because I've got a little bit of celery. I like celery and this kind of stuff, right? They say you can't really can celery by itself, but you can, as well as, but I've got celery in soup that I've canned, and it's so delicious. So besides that point, we've got the parsnips there, we've got 3 potatoes, we've got my neighbor's, actually this is frozen broccoli, so I'm just going to put in a few of those in between for color. If I need more, I'll get more. We've got the ribs, we've got the pork, and yeah, that's all I'm going to put in it in terms of vegetables and that type of and meat. Now this I took off the stove and I'm letting it cool, but if it's not cool enough to be able to fill up the jars after I basically fill them up, I can probably leave them there for about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes as I get the canner going. And you know, I just don't turn on the canner. You don't turn on the canner when things are like cold, right? You don't put cold jars into hot water, right? So let me get on with this. Hold on. Okay, do you see that jar over there? I didn't see it. When I was filling up these jars, honest to God, I didn't see it. That's what I mean. The clear blends in with the white, and the silver blends in with the clear and the white, and the yellows blend in with everything. And anyway, so I got 6 jars, so that's good. And I'm now using a bit of broth from the fridge. Look how much is there. And I've got 5 quarts left, because I didn't use this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5. I have 5 quarts, which should be enough for this. So I'll do that tomorrow. Well, this is looking pretty good. Now I'm not adding no salt because, again, the pork has its own salt. And I nibbled on the ribs that I rinsed off, and I could taste the sauce that was on them, right? So that's going to add flavor to it, right? And then you can always add the salt in after. Now, I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. Just tap them down a bit. I should look for a chopstick or something. Debubble a little bit anyway before I forget, right? And then I'm going to top off the jars, get the canner. All that's left is some fat for the animals outside. Right? Little bits and pieces of meat in there. And bones. So that's going outside for the animals. So I'll be back. Okay, so you told me you weren't gonna can no more. You told me you weren't gonna can no more. As if I like standing here for an hour and a half. Yeah, everything all blurry. Cloudy. So I'm having to go like this, right? These things make it worse. Doesn't matter what the pair of glasses is, it's all the same. But you know what, people, I'm standing here telling myself, you know, Judy, there's going to come a day when you won't be able to do this and you're going to miss it. That's what's going to happen. So for as much as you think you might like to bitch about, well, I got to stand here for an hour and a half, and then tomorrow I got to do another 25 minutes. Who knows what's going to happen? I could do the tomatoes that are in my freezer and just get them in a jar, pint-sized jar. That would be great, right? You know? I'd have more room for other things because you know I want to make ice cream, right? I might still can them just to get them out of the freezer, right? Because as fast as I cleared it out, I filled it back up. But it's mostly fruit in there now, and those burgers, right? And a few miscellaneous things. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure at one point in the future, I'll miss this. You know. Well, now it's starting to climb. It holds its temperature pretty good. And then all of a sudden, yeah. I still got, oh my Lord, 47 more minutes to go. Yeah. I bought 2 sets of these speakers, which has a little bit of a boom box on it, right? One set for that turntable that I bought. And it's not a cheap one, it's a good one. That's specifically made to plug into a computer. It has a program so that when you run your records through, it records it onto the computer through the program. Right? But I didn't have any speakers for it. So now that I got the speakers, I've got the turntable there, I've got tons of records. I don't quite have the time to get with it yet. I don't know where the directions are anymore. I did download the program onto a flash drive. I think it starts with an A. So I'm going to have to find it and install it onto the computer, but that's not the computer that I really want to use. But I'll use it anyway. Oh, now it's dropping way too fast. Come on. No. If it goes below 10, you have to start all over again. And I don't want to do that. But the problem now is where I have it, you know, it's near Amari, right? And he's grabbing and he's reaching and he's... Oh. So the computer screen is practically falling off the desk now. Because you have to move it away from him. I unplugged all the cords because, you know, his reach is like, right? And now he can go like this. Like literally, sometimes he goes, I don't know how he does it, but he does it. And like, it almost looks like he's ready to stand up. But, of course, that's not what it is, right? Because his legs don't work like that. But when he goes like this, oh man, I don't know, people. Right? So now I'm like, okay, I don't know. I might have to move the turntable somewhere else. Maybe put it on the table or something. Move the computer that I have over there. But I want to work on, you know, Amari's cookbook, right? How to look after Amari, you know? Amari's side dish, right? But as if I have time. Never have no time for nothing. I can only accomplish so much in a day these days. And even then. But I have the speakers, and then the speakers on my computer, I just have this little dinky thing, right? But there's something wrong with the jack, so I have to unplug this computer, which Tisha gave to me about 3 years ago or something like that. And it was a used computer. It works, but I think it needs to be dusted out. I'm hoping if I dust it out, like vacuum and, you know, take a little brush, paintbrush, and just dust it out, because it does. Right? Sometimes it does that. I don't know if you can hear it in my videos when I'm up that way. And I'm hoping that when I do that, the jack that holds the speakers in the back, because that's where this plugs in, works, because as it is right now, there's a little bit of a short. So I'm a little nervous because I don't want them to blow out these speakers, because whatever was plugged in there, I don't think they work anymore. I have to unplug them and plug them into something else to see if they work, because I bought 2 of that kind and one fried for whatever reason on a, I don't know. They just don't make things good anymore. That's what it is. That's why I like older technology, you know? It just works better. All this stuff you pay, and sure, it looks good, but for how long? In terms of it working. Not that it won't look good forever, because it'll always look good unless you scratch it up, but... yeah. So Deb, as I'm standing here waiting, hopefully my battery won't die, but I only got about another, 19 minutes to go. Of course, I'm thinking about Uncle John, right? And I did comments, right? And I was telling you, on the day that they medically kidnapped him, you know, when I walked into his room, I seen the hammock. Okay, that was the same kind of hammock that they had when they moved him from the emergency ward at the Surrey Memorial Hospital, because they had him in the halls for 2 or 3 days, and then they moved him upstairs, right? And I guess by 3rd day of being drugged up with OxyContin, because he hadn't been on drugs for 20 years, it wiped him out. So anyway, I guess they moved him with the hammock, and when I went to go see him when he was upstairs, I seen the hammock. So that's how I know that when they took him out of the care facility, the temporary care facility, right? They did it in a hammock, people, after lunch, after they drugged him up and made him pass out. And when I walked into his room, I had Andre with him, And he told me to go get a lawyer. He told me to go get Paul. So I was coming to tell him that I spoke to Paul, and Paul was willing to speak to him, and we were going to try and fight through Paul, a lawyer, an official lawyer, to get him out of that place without, you know, them following us home and then coming in with a bunch of bullshit, right? We wanted access to his medical files, everything. Okay. So anyway, plus I did the taxes, right? I did the taxes, so he was going to sign, right? My taxes, his taxes, and I was going to put them in the mail. All right, so anyway, pay attention. So anyway, when I walked into his room, I had Andre, and I came into the room, but I didn't go all the way to his bed because the curtain was pulled, but, you know, the curtain was pulled, but there was people around his bed. So all I could see was the end of the bed, somebody laying in it, with the hammock. The hammock was there, it just wasn't quite used yet, right? Talk about perfect timing. And I looked, and I expected to see John in the wheelchair waiting for me, right? But that's not what happened. I just seen this swarm of people around John's bed with, you know, obviously somebody on the bed with the fucking hammock. And I'm like, well, where's John? I'm telling you, it was Eleanor, his sister, a fucking ugly looking hag. Turned around and looked at me. You're being rude. You need to leave. John's not here. And he's gone. Or something like that. You're being rude, disrespectful. No, she said, I'm being disrespectful. I said, because I had Andre. I didn't go to the bed, people. I just couldn't. Because, you know, I mean, it would have been a brawl. If I would have went to his bed and seen John laying there, passed out, dead as a doornail, with a whole bunch of fucking people ready to load him up, after, right, they're saying that they're going to take him to Victoria or put him into a fucking, some other center, and he was never coming home again, and just the whole 9 hours, it would have ended up being a brawl. With Andre there, a little teeny weeny boy, right? He was like only 4 years old or something. So I couldn't go to the bed with that fucking hag. You're being disrespectful. You need to leave. John's not here. I said, well, okay. Clearly it's a mob against one. I went to the doctor's station looking for a doctor. Now, mind you, the whole time he was in there was about 20, 21 days. Not once did I see a doctor. Okay? Just the Punjabi nurses. Here's your calcium pill, John. John, take your calcium. You have to take your calcium pill. Well, are you giving... No, we're not giving him anything else. Just a calcium pill. Straight up lying to everybody's face, including John. Okay. So I get to the doctor's station, right? And I'm like, is there a doc? And there's this white dude standing there. Well, I'm a doctor. I said, okay. I said, where's John? Like, well, what happened to John? He goes, he's been released. I said, released? He goes, yeah. I said, well, where did he go? I don't know. I'll call the social worker. The screechy fucking social worker that said that John wasn't coming home by any means necessary, as she was accusing me of elderly abuse, as they were plotting and scheming behind my back to do mail fraud so that they could fucking steal his money as they medically kidnapped him. Yeah, okay. I said, no, I ain't talking to her. I just left. I said, no, that's fine. And I walked out of there with Andre, because it just would have been another fucking who knows what, right? All right. So... Shemay ends up... Okay, so he got released by a doctor. But you see, it's never going to go to court because the government covers it up. Because they damn well know what's going on with the elderly people out here. Okay? They're protecting Eleanor Gilding, the manager to the provincial immunization program for all health care staff across the province. And this is who's committing fraud. Illegal detainment, illegal drugging of the elderly, the illegal transportation through the medical kidnapping of individuals. he was not the first time this had happened to somebody. It was too smooth. All right. Shimei ends up phoning Cheryl. I don't know if you heard that recording, Deb. If you don't, I'll find it and I'll pass you on the freaking link. Cheryl is the daughter of Eleanor Gilding, right? John's niece. And I guess Shimei was talking to Cheryl, but she wasn't recording it until she told me she was talking to Cheryl. And I said, well, if that's the case, you need to record it. Prior to not recording it, when Shimei was talking to Cheryl, don't ask me how she got Cheryl's phone number, but she did. The only thing that woman wanted from Shimei, and this was like within the first week of John being medically kidnapped, okay, was to know where his superannuation, oh my God, I'm so frustrated, superannuation, you know, the government fucking pension, no, superannuation life insurance policy, because they assumed that he had one because he was with the government in 25 years, but he canceled it when he aged out at age 65 because he didn't want his family coming and fucking stealing it and disrupting our life, my life, if he died before 65 years old, right? Because it was mandatory until age 65. After that, he had a choice. He could either continue paying 40, 50, 60 or whatever it was per month to keep it, or just let it go. And he let it go because he knew what his family was like, and he thought he was protecting us people so that the shit that happened wouldn't fucking happen, and he could have lived a long life with us and be happy. But they didn't know. They didn't know that he didn't have a superannuation life insurance policy. They just assumed that he did. So apparently, Cheryl was asking Shimei within the first week of them medically kidnapping John where Uncle John's superannuation life insurance policy was. And of course, she wouldn't know anything about it. I have all the paperwork on it here. I supplied it to the fucking court. But Judge Ross ignored it. So did the Attorney General. Because it's obvious they want their employees to medically kidnap the elderly so their houses can go up onto the market so the Punjabis and the Chinese can buy them and fucking do what they want with them as they terrorize everybody else around them in terms of, get out, get out, get out! You'll never have another house like this again! You piece of white trash! I know, you like that, don't you, Amari? You sure do. So anyway, I don't know. Well, we need his ID. We need his ID. Get your mom to go get your mom to tell you where his ID is and find a way to get it to us. She ended up coming to town. I said, what the hell? Oh. Why do they need to know where John's superannuation life insurance policy is within the first week of them fucking medically kidnapping him? You know, literally. They drugged him up, they put him in the fucking hammock, they wheeled him off into the bottom of fucking, what's her name, Eleanor Gilding's freaking van. She got on the ferry, he slept on the fucking ferry, just as they were coming off the ferry, he was waking up, and then he realized what the hell was going on, and he almost died! They had to rush him to the emergency room. The Victoria General Hospital. That's why they were asking where his superannuation life insurance policy was, because he almost fucking died, and they wanted to have it. Not that they weren't satisfied with the life insurance, the inheritance that Joan left him, because that's what they were stealing. But they thought they could get it fucking all. And of course, we're oblivious. We don't know. I have my lawyer, Paul, working for free for me, trying to find John. And he did. He found him. It took a while. So anyway, I'm standing here. I'm thinking about it. Well, what else am I going to do? I don't feel like washing my fucking floor right now. All right. And I'm like, Okay, so they released him from a temporary care ward after they were telling us that they weren't going to release him home because he needed more care in terms of rehabilitation, right? That he was confused, or whatever excuse they tried to come across with. They released him, and on the day they fucking released him, he ends up in the emergency ward. That doctor should be held to account. They all should be people. And then to shut him up, they drugged him up even more. They fucking killed him. They brought him to an early death. And that's why the government brings in all these fucking immigrant workers to do the dirty deeds of the upper union management. Eleanor Gilding, the upper management of the provincial government immunization program for all healthcare workers across BC. Sitting on this board, sitting on that board, sitting on that board, all high and fucking mighty. Yeah, okay. I can't wait till I see your obituary. Roll off the fucking mountain when you drive from Shawnigan Lake down the mountain to go to where? Victoria? Yeah, okay. I'm serious. That doctor released John so that he could, within not even 5 hours, end up at the emergency room across the water from the mainland of Vancouver to the island, which is about, oh, I don't know, I can't remember how many hours. Couple, 2 or 3 anyway. And as they got to the other side, he woke up and he wouldn't fucking shut up and he was gonna fucking die, and they rushed him to the emergency ward with Cheryl saying that word for word almost on the phone to Shimei. I have it recorded and the government ignored it. Why? Because what I tell you is true, and it's coming to the United States of America. Just ain't nobody talking about it yet. They talk about the homeless people, but they don't talk about why. I'm mad. It hurts me that I couldn't protect him, people. I couldn't save him any more than I could save Shimei or Sierra. Because the forces against me are too evil. Only evil entities, things, do shit like the things that have happened to my family. For what? Money? Money? Yeah, okay. The doctor released John on February 23rd, when on the 19th, he asked me to go get Paul. I came back to say, yeah, we got Paul, but the doctor released him. I guess he knew he was going to end up at the emergency ward in Victoria, so it was okay to release John. Well, his stupid ass niece, Cheryl, on the second phone call, they were back to back, caught herself, and then tried to say, oh, we only brought John over for a little visit. But we didn't expect him to get sick, because all of a sudden, out of the blue, his pneumonia came back, and that's why they had to rush him to the hospital. Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit. And I can tell you something about the Victoria General Hospital. They like to do shock therapy on old people to shut them up. I have an article on a little old lady, something like 82 years old, probably a Caucasian, fucking had to go in fucking hiding away from the medical healthcare system in the province of British Columbia, Canada, because that's where they wanted to put her, in the Victoria General Hospital, to give her shock therapy so that she would stay where they told her to stay, not where she wanted to be. So she went into hiding at age 82. With the people that she wanted to be with. Because she felt safe and loved by them. But we know what happens with people in British Columbia, Canada. If they're not being snuffed out in their houses, they're being snuffed out on the street, or they just simply suddenly die 15, 26 in the old folks' home. But don't forget about those pre-recorded fucking live streams that predict those numbers a week and a half before it even fucking happens. Got that documented too. How do you fight against that kind of evil? When it's an infestation. Hell, you can't even go out and find affordable housing, for crying out loud. Oh, well, you know, it's just the economy. No, it's more than the economy. It's called manufactured death. To traffic body parts, including teeth. And steal old people's assets, whether they're inheritances, superannuation life insurance policies, any kind of fucking life insurance policy, their houses. That's the big one. The houses, people. You can't build your stack and pack fucking buildings unless you can get the houses first to tear them down. And that's why that fucking temporary care facility was full of nothing but fucking old white people. And John wasn't the only one that was trying to bust out of that place. Seen that for myself. I went from upstairs, downstairs, into the main reception area, and there was somebody that I've known, like, in the community, and there was a bunch of fucking cops and kerfuffle going on, and you know, I wandered over, I said, hey, I haven't seen you in a while, like, what's going on? And he goes, oh, this is my friend, you know, he wants to leave, the fucking nurses, the brown ones, because that's all that worked there, right? Except for that one white doctor and the fucking white dude that sat at the desk as people were coming in terms of coming into the building. I only seen 2 white people the whole time I was going in and out of that fucking place. Every other person either came from the Philippines, Cambodia, fucking Punjab. Who knows? Who knows? Even the British person was a British, screechy Punjabi woman. And she came from Britain. But she wasn't white. No. So anyway, he goes, yeah, this is my friend, he wants to leave. They've been like restraining him and forcibly drugging him. But he doesn't want to be here, he wants to leave, so I'm trying to help him to leave. But they won't let us leave. They called the cops on us. I said, holy shit. So, you know, it wasn't like I could... Now, maybe they staged that so because John wanted to leave too. But we were scared to walk out of there because we knew that they would fucking either stop us or follow us because just the way they were acting, right? And I'm telling you, that place was full of fucking old white people. And John's roommate, too, wanted to leave, and they refused to let him leave. They told him that he couldn't fucking leave, that he was forced to sell his house, and then as soon as his house sold, he'd have the money to pay for the time that he stayed there. He had already been there for 6 fucking months. They kept him in John's room for 6 fucking months as he was trying to sell his house, telling him that he couldn't go back home. He was going to go into long-term care. And then he tried to grab his shit and walk out, and they refused to let him fucking go. And then there was a little old lady that was bugging my kids, my girls, right? Tisha and Shimei, a little old lady in a wheelchair asking my girls to take her to the bathroom because the nurses wouldn't do it. She didn't like being in a diaper. Neither did John. So it was my girls that were taking this little old white lady to the fucking bathroom, as she was saying that she wasn't allowed to leave either. And that they don't help them to go to the bathroom. None of that shit. That's why John told me to go get Paul the lawyer. I hope that doctor rots in fucking hell. As a matter of fact, he probably came from fucking hell. Only something from hell would do shit like that. You know, I know YouTube tried real hard to silence me in partnership with the province of British Columbia, Canada. Premier David Eby. Prior to him, it was, what, isn't it, John Horgan. Okay? Yeah. But you know what? Seriously. If I can... I don't want to say be that voice, but be some kind of voice as a warning call for others to really be aware. Well then, it's not all in fucking vain. It's not all in vain. John didn't deserve what happened to him. Neither did my kids. It played a big role in the demise of Shimei. Because she just, you know, sure, she was working and whatever, but at the end of the day, what does she hook up with? A fucking hood rat that killed her. Where if they just would have left him alone, they could have kept his fucking, what is that stupid thing called? His inheritance that he got from Joan, right? Because she died and she kept hers. The only thing is, the sister didn't tell him. Nobody in his family told him. They kept it hidden from him because they were hoping he'd die and they'd be able to keep it, right? Or they were hoping that, you know, he'd get sick and then they'd do what they did, right? But if they just would have released him home and we would have picked up our life where we were, honestly, I don't think Shimei would have ever dated fucking Julian. He was a loser. But she was so beaten down with, you know, the Sierra being thrown out into the streets in the middle of the winter from being a recovering drug addict to only end up to be a junkie of all things within 10 days from that act from that social worker that said, you can't come home. You come home, we take Andre. And then Sierra says, fine, I won't come home. And then what do? They plot and scheme. They force me to put him into fucking daycare, and the minute that nobody's there, they come in and they take him. And then they keep us in fucking court for 15 months as Sierra's going down and down and spiraling down and down and down, right? Shimei had to forfeit her fucking room waiting for Andre to come home. Yeah, okay, 15 months later. And then we wonder why she just kind of gave up, because by that time, John was gone. Right? And I mean, like, you know, and then she met Julian. And she was coming out of Freddie. As fast as she left Freddie, I don't even know how, because Julian was targeting Shimei. Just like Julian's sister targeted Shimei before Shimei even really knew either of them. Yes, I believe that, people. Just like this Julian's sister is taking on the identity of some girl that she's stalking now. She's stalking somebody new. I told you it was just a matter of time before she starts fucking stalking another girl. She's stalking hardcore. But this girl called the cops on her. And she knew she had Julian's sister's phone. So, you know, they phoned her. But she didn't answer it because she's a fucking coward. Where when we phoned, we didn't know her phone number. We didn't know where she lived. We didn't know where her mother lived. All we know is she was poisoning my plants. You know, stalking my yard. Stealing shit. Whatever she was doing. Making threats to come by and punch me out and all that fucking shit. So it never went anywhere, right? But this girl, she put it, like, nipped it fast in the bud. Well, Julian's sister, well, that don't matter. It's not my first rodeo. I already fucked with New Nations Unity and won that battle. So come on, bitch. I can, you know, you want to take me to court under a restraining order? That's not a problem. That'd buy me 1.5 years to fuck you over. As she's taken on her identity, basically, by plastering this girl's face on her fucking channel. As if it's her. Yeah, okay. And that's what YouTube supports. Gang stalking, fucking stalking, because she's not doing it by herself, because she tries to geek up those around her to come to my house and fucking kill me. And if she ain't gonna fucking kill me by geeking somebody to kill me, because she won't do it for herself, she's gonna geek somebody out. Cheeseburger, Cheeseburger and Julian were sitting in the alley and plotting and scheming how they were gonna kill you so that they could get Amari. Yeah, I'm sure you had your 2 cents in there too, being that you laced Shimei cigarettes and killed fucking Shimei with your brother. But that's okay. Cops don't care. Government doesn't care. Healthcare system doesn't care, because you're looking at $1 million for a body, so a whole lot of people got paid. But before that happened, you know, they fucked with Sierra, fucked with Andre, fucked with John. She was being targeted, vulnerable, fell for it. And when she tried to break away from an abusive relationship, she got murdered. Well, my government covers it up so they can do it again and again and again and again and again to more young people, male or female. It doesn't matter, because a lot of people are being murdered by fentanyl out here. Just like John wasn't the first and the last person being medically kidnapped by Eleanor Gilding and her friends. Including doctors. Anyway, this is done now. Everything's off. Everything's off. Don't touch anything. Tomorrow I will do the broth. My stuff in the dehydrator is almost done. It was just a little detour. I solved a problem. Not that it was a problem, because I don't see somebody out of the kindness of their heart giving me food as a problem. Right? But where the problem comes is, where do I put the jars now? Right? So, it just means I have to take out more out of my bedroom. I don't know what. And I don't know where to put it at this point, because I'm not getting any help with putting it online to even attempt to sell it. But that's okay. It's just a few jars. I'm not too worried about it. I don't want to put them... I honestly don't want to be putting too much quote-unquote canned goods in a metal can, especially these cans today that they're making in Tisha's room, because, you know, the little quote-unquote business room, because it's too warm. And I sure in the hell don't want to put this kind of stuff in there, because it will be too warm. More than likely, because that's the warmest room. And the one that, you know, we sleep in. Andre sleeps in. Shimei's room. When Shimei lost her room for Andre, that room sat empty for 15 months while the government fucked with our heads. And then we got Andre back, and within the year, they went after John. And they practically killed John. And including my family. As a matter of fact, they got Shimei murdered. Yeah. Yep. And they always had their sights on Sierra because it's easy to blame the junkie for dying. Even though I've got it fucking recorded that the whole thing was snaky. Full of shenanigans. Very suspicious activity on the coroner's part, on the RCMP's part, right? And just the fact that I couldn't identify my own daughter's body for 19 days, even though I was on the premises, as they were protecting the one that they were investigating in terms of, did you murder Sierra? Something suspicious here. You're under investigation, John Hart. You got to sit down on the couch and wait until we're done with the investigation. But we'll push the family out, and we'll cut a backroom fucking deal with you, because we know Sierra was always slated to have her heart ripped out, her liver, her kidneys, her lungs. Forget about the brain. They fried that a long time ago. And God knows what else they took. Her eyes. And they shared the proceeds as they got full, literally, and high off of adrenochrome. And extra money with the snuff movie. There's no reason for a body dude guy to be walking down the stairs looking into a cell phone with the babyface cop coming up and saying, did you get the stuff? Did you get the cell phone? Are you coming back? Well, I don't know. He's there to pick up a dead body. Why wouldn't he come back? No, the coroner's office loaded up Sierra's body in the trunk of her fucking coroner's car, ran through the back, right? Through the back, right? And then drove up through the driveway and batted out of there like a bat out of fucking hell. Caught it on fucking camera. And they knew that we weren't going to leave until we identified Sierra's body, and that's why they came up with their little cockamamie story. Oh, we're you know, something suspicious is going on here. We're going to investigate. It's going to take 3, 4, 5 hours. Do you really want to be standing on a porch in the rain waiting? Why don't you just go home and we'll call you? We promise. Before we move Sierra's body, we'll have you come by and identify it. I went back within an hour and a bit later, and they were all fucking gone. The house was on lockdown and dark, with one cop in the front guarding the door in his vehicle, with another cop in the back sitting in his vehicle guarding the back, with their fucking rope, right? Their lynching rope hanging next door on this tree. Yeah. Anyone that's bringing children into this world with this fucking problem that we have, that is aware. I mean, if you're not aware, then I suppose you can't help it. But if you become aware of the depth of evil that actually walks this planet and stalks human beings like prey. I wanted to use another word, but that will suffice. They're nuts. They're nuts. They're completely freaking nuts. Completely freaking nuts. Okay, so that's it. I'm done.